Gentlemen, the time has come once again to discuss things.
Anyway, on that note, hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Geeky Gentlemen, a holiday month. I am Sid Partu. With me today is a sex demon for fun.
Hello there.
Hey. So today I keep telling you, holiday character discussions are just a fucking bitch. This is being posted, or should be posted at least on Christmas Eve, so I hope everyone has a lovely giving Christmas. And yeah, we'll see how this goes. So, character discussion for tonight is snow people. Magical people made out of snow. Because I didn't want to just say Frosty, because, I'm going to talk about other people that are basically just Frosty the Snowman, except, they're not. So yeah, magical snow people. That's what I got.
My favorite term during the research here I found was snowlums.
Snowlums?
Yeah, snow golems.
I can't believe you fucking do research on this. This is beautiful.
Hey man, I'm trying to bring some legitimacy to this shit show you got going on here.
Oh, fair enough. I don't know, this is just one of those things where, Frosty's definitely a Christmas character, but there have been, there are other snow people of note, snowlums, snow golems. Frozen 2 is out, Olaf's a big, popular snow person character thing. Mm-hmm. It seemed relevant.
Relatively, he's not going to show up any other way in the world, so I think I think the thing with it is mostly when you do stick with because there will be parts in this discussion where we deviate from the basic mold of Snowman come to life. Mm-hmm. But strictly speaking, I guess we're a little bit on the archetypical thing defined, I guess, by Frosty. I'm sure there are. I think maybe just the term itself, the myth probably does come, or the idea comes from golems that have then just been adapted to fit, of being made from snow. Making something and then bringing it to life has always kind of been around in human history. So I feel like that might be the core of the idea, which I think is interesting because keeping it with the idea of a holiday friendly character to bring around is probably the most, I don't want to say accessible, but the one that's yeah, I can see what that would look like and hang it. It's the one that you can build yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, also part of the reason I wanted to bring this up is, so I come from a long forgotten era of the video rental store. And I have two almost iconic experiences with renting movies when I was a child. One of them was I wanted to rent Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles for the 5 billionth time, according to my father. And I did, and apparently they put the wrong cassette in the case at Blockbuster, and so I ended up watching Martin Scorsese's Goodfellas. And so I come downstairs and I go, Dad, he hit the guy right in his fuck. And so that was a fun one. And something very similar happened. there's a movie called Jack Frost. It's got Michael Keaton, and it's about Michael Keaton turning into a snowman. And I wanted to rent this movie once when I was a child. But there's also another movie called Jack Frost that came out 1 year beforehand. And it's a really shitty horror movie where a serial killer gets put in a snowman body.
Uh-huh.
Same shit. Videotapes got reversed. Apparently paid people minimum wages enough to make them care about details like that. So I got to watch that. That's a pretty fucked up movie for a kid to watch, especially because there's a rape scene with said snowman. But yeah, so the Jack Frost film has always been one that's stuck in my head. Also because it just has the frickin' coolest monster design, specifically on the cover of the video case, but not in the movie. If you ever get the chance, you should Google Jack Frost, because the cover design is so cool. It's like a skull, and it's got kind of like icicle looking, teeth and shit.
Yeah,
it's
that's
awesome.
interesting.
But then the movie is just a big fucking snowman, and like occasionally it's got like mean angry eyebrows. And that's it. Like they had really good visual design just for the cover. It's absolutely beautiful. So I don't know, that always kind of stuck in my head. The Michael Keaton movie that I guess ripped it off also stuck in my head. And so I want to talk about Snow People because it's got this very, childlike sense to it of, oh, you can just have this magic and it'll bring the character to life. It is really that kind of like imagination brought to life thing that I find really interesting. I'm a Green Lantern fan. So there's just that. I had a very active imagination as a kid, so I kind of thought about stuff like this too. You kind of imagine you make a snowman in the winter, and you kind of imagine it's running around town or some shit afterward. I don't know. Mm-hmm. It's a weird, cool, fun idea.
I feel like that's one of those where you have such an easy. It's almost the same effect as like Toy Story, capitalized on, where you're taking an idea that is so inherently. A kid can completely see this as a real living thing, or at least imagine it to be so in their games. And I know it's not real, but can suspend the disbelief with that amazing power of like just kid imagination. Now, when you put it to fiction, it's so easy to just buy that conceit, even when you are an adult, just because it's so. Oh yeah, the snowman came to life. Like it, especially because part of it is all about the design of it can change and be so iconic while still being so malleable. Everyone can build a snowman differently, and everyone can like buttons for eyes or different things here and there, stones or a mouth or a smile or a different expression. There's a lot of different ways you can play with that. And that almost adds to the fact of it being an imaginary creature that can come to life through that, because every kid kind of creates something from their just own idea of what a snowman should be. And although they'll largely be the same, if you actually really got close detail and analyze it, there'll be different heights, different sizes, there's no like standard metric for a snowman like there is for like Santa Claus.
That's very true. I also think it's like really interesting because even the most famous story about it, Frosty, it's mainly just like, okay, that's just all you got. Is just it's a snow guy come to life with a hat, and you take the hat off, and there it is. And so you got like the song for Frosty, and of course Frosty had his own animated special that's just pretty bad. It's interesting because it's something that seems to exist more for play than it does for, like, the tale. Santa Claus has a tale. Santa Claus has a mythos. The snow person thing is just kind of a general concept, and it doesn't necessarily have much attached to it. It's like fairies. You know, there's not like fairies exist, but they don't necessarily have like a hard and fast lore that they follow. At least not one that I'm super well aware of. They just are kind of like a generic magical creature kind of thing. So I don't know. It's, you know, you look at that and it's like it becomes a thing to create a story around, and it also it can work to various degrees because once you have a snow person that's alive, you can kind of do some interesting stuff with that. As far as what's the word I want here? It's got that implicit dramatic conceit to it, because a lot of things do this. The Michael Keaton Jack Frost film, he's melting the whole time. The Frozen, Olaf wants to exist in summer, but he'll melt, and so they have kind of, you know, this concern that Olaf can't be in certain rooms, otherwise he'll start to melt, kind of thing. There's like that natural Spider-Man ran out of web conceit to it.
Holy, like that's, you're right. I never thought of it like that. Oh my god.
Like, there's a lot of things like that. Like, I like Green Lantern, but Green Lantern has that too, where it's like, oh, power rings out of juice. When I was a kid, or not me, but when my friend Bobby and his younger brother Scott were kids, anytime in the cartoon, when Jon Stewart said, my ring's running out of juice, Scott was like, why doesn't he just like carry orange juice or something with him so he can fill it back up? Because he thought it literally ran on juice. just fun. Anyway, but no, it's got like that natural dramatic conceit, so it does work for a story. It's just, I feel like it's one of those things where the conceit can only get you so far, and the concept only has so much leg that I guess I'm not surprised it's not had a ton of adaptation. Like they're usually, besides the Michael Keaton Jack Frost and the horror film Jack Frost, which by the way has a sequel that took place in the Bahamas, or Hawaii, one of those, somewhere tropical. I'm not sure if there's anything that comes to mind of like the Snow Person movie kind of thing. Like, you got the Michael Keaton film, and I think that's about all you have as far as like Christmas movie that follows a snow person kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, there's certainly been, I think rather than like a film itself, I think the closest we can ever get to like someone making this bigger pop culture splash is like Olaf. Mm-hmm. But even then, it's hardly focused on anything beyond just, here's a wacky character who just happens to be a snowman. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know if the concept really has a ton of legs in and of itself, but it's something we come back to now and again. Not this year's issue, but last year's issue of Klaus had a snowman story. It was about a guy becoming a snowman. And that was awesome. I loved it there. But they do tend to be more like side characters or like complementary scenery, I suppose, because a lot of the I'm trying to remember if it was all of them or if it was just Rudolph. At least Rudolph of the Rankin Bass starts with the snowman telling the story. It's like, it's very complimentary Christmas imagery.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of that things where they work really well to flesh out a world in the same way that like an orc will flesh out like a fantasy world, or just a maybe even like the jack-o'-lanterns will flesh out, like that are living, will flesh out the world of like a Halloween kind of themed thing. They exist because they're familiar where we are, and they let you recognize it's Christmas and have a unique setting, like using the setting of somewhere covered in snow in a way that nothing else can. But at the same time, it's it's really hard to push it to more than that, because when you start to make it about a character, there's not really anything inherent to it that lets you know what their deal is. You look at like a werewolf from like concept, you can kind of get what to do with that. You can take it in 100 different directions, but there is an inherent kind of light bulb moment when man turns into wolf at full moon kind of thing. Snowmen that already existed, or people that become snowmen, there's not really this it's such a okay kind of there's no natural basis, because it's entirely a man-made idea of making snowman, and even then there's not really many things culture-wise except for like the aforementioned golems, and even then that's the closest thing I could think of, but it's given it's a Christian holiday, I think it's completely I think we've completely moved away from any true symbolism hugging on that idea. So I do find it hard to think of any way of making a snowman protagonist interesting purely on the facts of dealing with being a snowman. In like just saying it sounds kind of like there's not a lot there.
No, it's exactly it. It's just, it's a cool thing. They're a cool set piece, and I think they work really well as like we've said earlier, like side characters. I think they work really well as minor characters within a story, but I mean, it's been years since I've seen the Michael Keaton film, and even then, it's just, I mean, like, I mean, remember the general plot of that movie. He's like a musician, and he's traveling, trying to get home in the middle of a blizzard one Christmas, and he drives off the road and dies. And then the next year, his son makes a snowman, and he magically possesses it. And then, like, the rest of the movie is made like, okay, snowman antics. So, like, they get in a snowball fight, and he plays hockey at one point. And then he has to, like, take him up north to a cabin because they're trying to keep him alive. And, like, I'm pretty sure his son steals a refrigerator truck to transport him, which is really weird. I don't know. It's a strange concept that does make it just really, like, I feel like the true epic snowman story has yet to be truly told, you know, the one that's really going to define it for a generation.
There's a lot of I guess I'll just ask you, do you think there's something inherent to the idea of it physically being in the snowman form? Or do you think more of the interesting stuff comes from the idea that ice can capture life?
I guess I'd go with the second one. Maybe we need like the Snow Dog movie or something.
Yeah, because I'm kind of feeling there's more in the tank of something which deals with inherently it's a snowman because it's a familiar form, but at the broader mythological concept can go into like the ideas of snowflakes being these incredibly intricate, beautiful things that disappear the moment you touch them, and all of that stuff with like snow itself and the cold of the winter, like the snow as just a weather phenomenon. Blah. Has such a bit of impact, and whenever you see it, it can give a certain mood. It can be horrifying, it can be beautiful. I think delving into that in the same way that, if you're gonna go back to like when we talk about mummies, how like sand and being able to manipulate sand in different ways and going down deeper into the ideas of that can make mummies more interesting, or when vampires can use the more esoteric powers of like actually being part of the night. The more you tie this thing into the weather itself, I think that's where you get some really good potential for ideas. And I think a snowman is kind of like, we're in the baby step of that. We're in the, oh yeah, it'd be cool if a snowman could get to Ive, but we need the Grant Morrison already touched it. But I think he needed to even go even bigger brain, because Klaus is very much baby's first Grant Morrison comic in all of its special, very much intentionally, because it's meant to be like more general audience. But I feel like if you really wanted to, I think that's the kind of mind you need to take to really get the, because then that will spiral others to, once you push the concept to its limit, people will dial back a little bit. We'll still have moved a bit forward, if that makes any sense.
No, I think you're absolutely right. It's, I think it's hard to work with something that's so, like, it's weird because there's like writers who just have a hard time working with things with a particular rule set, and then there's writers that have a hard time working with things that don't have any rule set. And the Snowman is like really interesting because it only has a couple of rules to play with. But none of those, besides just the thing I mentioned earlier of like the inherent dramatic situation, none of those lend themselves inherently well to a compelling story. Because it's almost like that too easy level of magic. Oh, all you need to do is put the hat on it and then it comes to life. Okay, like, do you go into the backstory of the hat? Like, what did a winter witch curse a hat? I don't know. You know, it's just it makes it just the right level of difficult to do too much with. And so, yeah, I don't know. I just don't know really where to go, what to talk about on this one. I don't want to stretch for another 9 minutes. So I guess I'll just ask, do we have anything else we really want to talk about with Snowman? I got something. Carrot for nose or no? What's your preference on Snowman attire and just general look?
I'm feeling carrot for nose, buttons for eyes, keep the buttons for the smile, get some twigs for the arms, and then maybe give it a scarf and a hat. That's kind of my thing that I used to always do. I would also sometimes, underrated aspect that people really need to kind of get with it. I'm sure people do get with it, but like the general people need to get with it. We've been hip. Is snow can be carved into really easily with just your finger. Get some cool like patterns going on. Like I used to always give my snowman an S shield. Like that was just the way. I don't. Is it just me? Am I the freak?
Yes.
Yes. That's the answer. But
I mean, like, to be fair, Calvin and Hobbes always had really good snowman creativity scenes. My favorite is when the dad's just like pulling into the driveway from work and he just sees like these snowmen just like crawling in fear on his front yard. It's like they're like been disassembled and they're like running in fear. It's like snow wars are happening and stuff. It's Calvin and Hobbes always just really fun imaginative things with snowmen.
Mm-hmm. Like, because that's one of the things as well. Is like their torsos are blown off and one's like holding the other's hand.
I know, right?
Stuff like that's great, and it actually wants to. That shifts into something I do kind of want to talk about. Is you mentioned it kind of at the start of this, but I kind of feel like horror might be the way to actually go with it. Doctor Who did it quite well, I feel, and I feel like I've seen quite a few things where it's funny because it's like people are freaking out when they see it, but I think it's like The Office or something. I've never watched the show, but I've seen like clips and stuff where like someone just made, before someone left the work, they made like a whole army of snowman like strategically placed as they walk out and looking threatening, and they just run out of the office like and just run, and then like it just cuts away and it's like turns out the real snowball was fear. And like I think that's almost the same way as like a zombie where it's necessarily on their own, they aren't threatening, but like a snowman can multiply really fucking fast.
Yeah. I don't know. That could be interesting. I think the biggest problem with snowmen is they're inherently not mobile. Like, again, to go back to the Michael Keaton thing, he was like the 3-ball structure of Snowman. And so just him moving around looked really awkward because naturally you want the bottom ball to be rolling all BB-8 style. But that doesn't work with snow. and so like he just kind of like pushed and trudged around like a slug man, and it was weird. I can't. Jack Frost, the horror film, does the same thing, and I don't think anyone's done like the snowman with legs particularly well. I know like the evil snow golem that she makes in Frozen has proper legs, but I'm trying to think of like just not or just human proportions snow person, you know?
I feel like I think Frosty himself had legs.
Yeah, and the animated special he did. And that, I don't know, it kind of, not kills the imagery, but it just makes you as a kid want to be able to make a snowman with legs.
Yeah, it's that
it
extra
doesn't
bit.
work. It's contrary to the thing that inspires it, I guess. I don't know. For me, I tried with Snowman, and I was never particularly good at it. I wanted to make a snow kid and a snowman, like a family kind of thing, one year, and like I'd always put coats on them. I don't know why that seemed like a good idea, but I'd always do that, and it covered everything up.
Take the coat off then.
Well, you go back in time and tell 7-year-old Ian what an idiot he is.
I'll just do it to current Ian if it's all fine by you, and you can like transfer the trauma through the timeline.
See, what I was really hoping you'd say was all right, I will. 1 second, and then I could like play a sound effect, and then I could go, it was you.
Yeah.
That shitty British guy.
Well, I'm afraid we both know you're too lazy for that. So, I kind of gave up on those bits. But if you want, okay.
It's too late now. It's too late. The moment's passed. Damn it. I know. I used to not be too lazy for those kind of bits. But now I am.
I think this is the state we've been brought to, thanks to Snowlums.
Snowlums. That's a really weird name. Do I put that in the... No, because no one's gonna know what the fuck a snowlum is.
It's a... Look, man, you don't know a snow person's pronouns.
God. Okay, yeah, we're done. We're done with this. Recommendations for stories with snow people. I'm going to do the controversial thing and not recommend the thing I've talked about the whole time, which is the 1997 Jack Frost film. Again, there's... Like, I was just Google imaging while we were talking here, and someone made a GIF out of the rape scene. So yeah, I'm going to definitely not recommend anyone watch that movie.
Yeesh.
Maybe next year. It'd be a good film to just fucking rag on.
Who's down for those at least?
Yeah, a 20-year-old film, just fucking rip it. Yeah. What else could we recommend? I get fuck it, the Michael Keaton film. It's the only film that like makes the snowman the main character. So I guess you kind of have to watch it if you're in love with the concept. That's what I got to recommend. How about you?
I'm kind of guessing that too. I would say maybe Olaf's probably where we're going to be heading in future, so maybe just check out the Frozen movie so you know what the current pop culture is probably going to take the major inspiration from. And I'm maybe going to have to go with as well the Doctor Who episode The Snowman, because I think that's not bad.
Okay. Oh, I thought of another one. The Klaus and the Snowman, I think it's called. That issue of the Klaus comic. That good.
All good to me.
Alrighty. Alfie, we're finally out of holiday month next week, I believe. I think we're in the clear. No, we need one fucking more. Ah, ouch. Damn it. All right. Well, at least I don't have to think of it. Alfie, we need another holiday character.
You had to do it to me, huh?
New Year's Eve. New Year's Eve. Ugh. I know it's a bitch.
I mean, alright, this might be a fucking cheat, but like, we've already made it to the end. I'm sure people might let me off the hook. So, their first appearance was a holiday special.
Okay.
Do you think we can bullshit our way with Boba Fett?
Fuck it, I'm down.
Yay.
Alrighty. Everyone, thanks very much for watching. Until next time, I'm the Philosopher.
And I am the champion of the oppressed.
And we are your geeky gentlemen, and we will be discussing things.
Ho, 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 ho! Merry Christmas!